Hollywood has always played a secret game with its rising stars. The rule is simple: play straight, hide your truth, and be a blank canvas for the public. It's a game of silence where authenticity is the price of fame. But what happens when a new generation refuses to play? They're not just breaking the rules, they're rewriting the entire script. Welcome to Rainbow Spotlight. Tonight we reveal 5 gay icons who looked at Hollywood's straight game and chose rebellion. They risked everything to live their truth, and their victory is undeniable. Stay with us as the story of how one star turned a career-ending Disney scandal into his ultimate superpower will prove the game has changed forever. And before we dive in, let us know in the comments, where are you watching us from? Don't forget to subscribe to Rainbow Spotlight for more untold stories. Josh Bassett, the Disney prince who fought back with his truth. The Disney machine doesn't build stars. It manufactures idols. For nearly a century, its formula has been ruthlessly effective. Find a young, handsome face, give him a guitar and a gleaming smile, and create a perfect, wholesome, non-threatening heartthrob. Josh Bassett was poised to be its next masterpiece. He was the charming lead in a billion-dollar franchise, the boy next door with a golden voice. He was on the pre-approved, perfectly paved road to superstardom. All he had to do was follow the rules. All he had to do was play the game. Then, the world exploded. In the winter of 2021, a single song from his co-star detonated a pop culture firestorm, and Josh Bassett was placed directly at its epicenter. Overnight, he was cast as the villain in a global teenage drama he never auditioned for. The game turned ugly. He wasn't just dealing with heartbreak. He was facing an avalanche of public hatred, relentless online bullying, and even death threats. The pressure was unimaginable. The old Hollywood playbook had a chapter for this. Stay silent. Disappear. Let the storm pass and reemerge later, carefully rebranded. That was the safe move. That was the straight move. But Josh Bassett refused to be a character in someone else's story. His rebellion didn't happen overnight. It was a slow, defiant burn. It started in a candid interview where, amidst the chaos, he casually admired Harry Styles and dropped a truth bomb that sent shockwaves through his carefully managed Disney image. "I guess this is also my coming out video." That single moment cracked the foundation of the game, but what he did next shattered it completely. Instead of hiding, he ran directly into the fire, armed with the only weapon he had left, his truth. He went into the studio and wrote. He didn't just write songs, he forged weapons out of his pain. In his EP, with tracks like Crisis Secret and Set Me Free, he didn't just hint at his experience. He documented it. He sang about manipulation, about the mental toll, about being told to stay silent. It was raw, it was messy, and it was a spectacular act of defiance against an industry that profits from quiet, beautiful suffering. He took control. He then went one step further, publicly embracing his Christianity and getting baptized, declaring his faith and his queerness in the same breath, a radical act that refused to believe they were mutually exclusive. So, how did he win? He won by refusing to be silenced. He won by turning his deepest pain into his most powerful art. He didn't just escape the perfect, suffocating Disney box. He incinerated it. Today, he is building an empire not on a fabricated image, but on radical vulnerability. He has a fiercely loyal fan base that fell in love not with the polished prince, but with the beautifully flawed, unapologetically honest artist who emerged from the flames. And while Josh Bassett's victory was forged in the heart of a media firestorm, our next icon chose a different form of rebellion. His fight wasn't against a public scandal, but against the crushing weight of global expectation, proving that sometimes the most revolutionary act is a quiet one. At number 2, Noah Schnapp. Imagine being 18 years old, standing at the very center of a cultural earthquake called Stranger Things. You're not just a star. You are a key player in one of the most beloved shows in television history. For years, the world has debated, analyzed, and obsessed over the identity of your character, Will Byers. The question wasn't just if Will was gay, but when the show would finally say it. That pressure cooker wasn't just confined to the screen, it spilled over, engulfing Noah himself. The entire world was watching him, waiting. The old Hollywood game has a very specific set of moves for a moment like this. There would be a carefully timed exclusive with a major magazine, a highly produced interview with Ellen or Oprah, a dramatic, soul-bearing announcement designed to be both a career milestone and a ratings blockbuster. The coming-out spectacle is one of the game's most tried-and-true plays, turning an intimate moment of personal truth into a commodity for public consumption. The industry expected him to play this card. His fans expected it. The media was practically begging for it. Noah's rebellion was to look at that entire high-stakes game and simply refuse to play. There was no magazine cover. There was no tearful interview. Instead, in the most Gen Z move imaginable, he logged onto TikTok. Lounging casually, he posted a simple video, lip-syncing to an audio clip with a caption that would change everything. When I finally told my friends and family I was gay after being scared in the closet for 18 years and all they said was, "We know." It was breathtaking in its simplicity. With a single unfiltered post, he stripped the moment of all the drama Hollywood so desperately craves. He rejected the narrative that coming out had to be a traumatic, earth-shattering event. He presented it as it should be, a moment of relief, acceptance, and love. He wasn't performing for the cameras or selling his story. He was just a kid, sharing a piece of his life on his own terms, in his own digital language. His win was a masterclass in quiet power. By refusing to make it a spectacle, he took away the media's ability to sensationalize his identity. The world didn't respond with shock or salacious headlines, but with an overwhelming, unified wave of support and affection. He didn't just win over the public, he redefined the act of coming out for a new generation. Noah Schnapp proved that you don't need to play Hollywood's game to be a superstar. You don't need their permission or their platform to own your narrative. His victory wasn't just personal. It was a gift to millions of young people, showing them that their truth doesn't have to be a headline. It can simply be a happy, normal, celebrated part of who they are. But while Noah Schnapp's rebellion was in normalizing a truth Hollywood wanted to sensationalize, our number 3 icon challenges a rule so fundamental, so deeply ingrained in the system, that the industry itself is being forced to evolve in real time. This isn't just about breaking a rule in the game, it's about proving the game itself is built on a flawed foundation. At number 3, Finn Argus. Hollywood's entire structure is built on a sacred tenet, the binary. From the very beginning, there have been 2 boxes: leading man, leading lady, hero, and ingenue. Every casting call, every character archetype, every marketing strategy is built upon this bedrock. It's the unspoken rule that predates all others. To succeed, you must choose a box. Finn Argus looked at the boxes, saw how small and confining they were, and decided to live their life in the beautiful infinite space between them. As a gender-fluid, non-binary artist, Finn's rebellion is their very existence in the public eye. It isn't a single act, it's a continuous, graceful, and powerful state of being. They didn't just refuse to play the straight game, they refused to play the binary game. And in doing so, they've become one of the most quietly radical forces in young Hollywood. Their rebellion is a visual manifesto every time they step onto a red carpet. They dismantle expectations with fashion, effortlessly blending masculine and feminine energies, creating looks that are not a costume but a genuine expression of their fluid identity. They treat fabric and form the way a painter treats a canvas, telling a story of freedom that challenges the audience to expand their own understanding of beauty and gender. It is a powerful, silent form of protest against the rigid costume of conformity. But their most profound act of defiance is in their work. They actively seek out roles that explore the vibrant, complex, and often overlooked corners of the queer experience. In the Queer as Folk reboot, they didn't just play a queer character, they brought a layered, authentic humanity to a story about queer community, trauma, and joy. They are using their platform not just to be visible, but to build worlds where people like them can be seen in their full complexity. This is not just representation. It is a form of artistic activism. So what is their victory? It is profound. While other stars fight for a seat at the table, Finn Argus is building a whole new table. They are forcing casting directors, writers, and audiences to unlearn a century of programming. They are a walking embodiment of a future where talent is not defined by gender, and identity is not a box to be checked. Their win isn't measured in box office numbers, but in the doors they are prying open for a generation of artists who follow. They are forging a new language for Hollywood, one where the only label that matters is artist. Matters. And while Finn Argus is building a new world where the old rules of identity no longer apply, our fourth icon faced a different, more classic Hollywood temptation. He was handed the keys to the kingdom, the pre-approved script for superstardom. His rebellion was found in the one word he refused to be: silent. At number 4, Brandon Flynn. When 13 Reasons Why became a global phenomenon, the industry saw its next leading man in Brandon Flynn. The path was laid out, gleaming and irresistible. Become the quiet, brooding heartthrob. Take the action movie roles, smile on the magazine covers, and maintain an air of mystery that would keep every demographic guessing and buying tickets. He was offered a spot in the well-lit, gilded cage of mainstream fame where the price of admission is often your own voice. The game wanted him to be a beautiful blank canvas. Brandon's rebellion was to grab a can of spray paint and cover that canvas with his truth, his anger, and his politics. Almost immediately after his rise to fame, he didn't just come out. He burst out with a passionate, fiery defense of his community. While the game advised him to stay neutral, he became fiercely, unapologetically political. He understood that his newfound platform wasn't just a tool for self-promotion, it was a weapon. He used his Instagram, not just for curated selfies, but as a megaphone for LGBTQ+ rights, for social justice, and for calling out hypocrisy wherever he saw it. He refused to be the industry's polite, palatable gay man. He chose instead to be a warrior, fully aware that this choice might cost him fans, roles, and endorsements. But his defiance didn't stop with his activism. It bled into his art. He turned his back on the glittering promise of the blockbuster and deliberately walked into the unpredictable, often unglamorous artistic wilderness. He sought out complex, challenging, and sometimes controversial roles in independent films and gritty television series like Ratched. He chose to work with visionary directors on projects that fed his soul as an artist rather than simply filling his bank account. It was a conscious decision to build a career based on longevity and respect, not just fleeting, explosive fame. So what does a victory look like when you walk away from the traditional winner's circle? It looks like freedom. Brandon Flynn won the power to choose his projects based on passion, not on a marketing plan. He won the respect of his peers as a serious, versatile actor who isn't afraid of the dark. Most importantly, he won a career that is authentically his. He proved that an artist's voice is their most valuable asset, and that true power isn't found in playing the game, but in having the courage to walk off the field and build your own. But while Brandon Flynn's rebellion was choosing a different path away from the glaring spotlight, our final icon represents a victory so profound he made the old path obsolete from the moment he stepped onto the stage. He didn't have to kick down the closet door because he refused to acknowledge it ever existed for him in the first place. At number 5, we celebrate the undeniable force that is Ben Platt. For generations, the unwritten laws of Broadway and Hollywood were clear. Gay actors were permitted entry, but their place was strictly defined: the witty best friend, the flamboyant side character, the tragic artist. These were the designated safe roles. But the ultimate prize, the universal romantic leading man, the very engine of the entire production, that was a sacred space reserved for those who played the game, for those who maintained the fragile illusion of straight, marketable desirability. Ben Platt looked at that rule book, with its silent agreements and whispered warnings, and with the sheer force of his once-in-a-generation talent, he rendered it completely irrelevant. His rebellion wasn't a single dramatic press release. It was his constant, unapologetic presence. He wasn't an actor who bravely came out mid-career, forcing the industry to adjust. He was an artist who walked into every audition and every rehearsal as a fully formed, openly gay man from day one. He never gave the system a chance to ask him to hide. He presented his whole self alongside his monumental talent and dared the system to deny him based on a prejudice his gift so clearly exposed as foolish. And the industry, faced with a talent so immense, simply could not. His defining moment, the event that sent a fissure through the old game, was the cultural tidal wave Dear Evan Hansen. He took on the role of an insecure heterosexual high school student whose journey of loneliness needed to resonate with everyone. According to the old rules, this was the ultimate test. The one an openly gay actor was supposedly destined to fail. But Ben Platt didn't just play the part. He became a conduit for a generation's collective anxiety. He wasn't a gay man playing a straight boy. He was a human being embodying the feeling of being an outsider. When he won the Tony Award for Best Actor, it wasn't just a trophy, it was a checkmate. It was the irrefutable evidence that the old game was built on a lie. He obliterated the myth that an audience's ability to connect is dictated by an actor's sexuality, proving that true talent is the ultimate universal language. Ben Platt didn't just carve out a space for himself. He proved the space was never rightfully closed to begin with. His victory is the most powerful of all because he proved you don't need to fight a corrupt game when your sheer brilliance reveals it was never a fair competition to start with. Josh Bassett, Noah Schnapp, Finn Argus, Brandon Flynn, Ben Platt. 5 rebels, 5 different battlefields, but one incredible victory. They were handed Hollywood's outdated rulebook and chose to set it on fire. Their journeys prove that authenticity isn't a career risk. It is the ultimate career strategy. They are living proof that the most powerful role you can ever play is yourself. Their success sends a clear message to the old guard. The game is over. The future isn't about playing a part. It's about owning your truth. Which of these icons' stories resonated with you the most? Drop a name in the comments and let's celebrate their courage. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more from Rainbow Spotlight.